Hello and welcome. In this video, I am going to discuss how to use the Assimil Chinese learning book to learn and what are the best practices one should follow to gain maximum value out of that book. I have the book which is part 2 of the Chinese learning series. I do not have used the part 1 book, and part 1 is a prerequisite to using this book unless and until you haven't studied Chinese from some other sources. It can be an app, it can be your teacher, or some YouTube playlist, and you are confident that you have built a base up to solid A2 level. Otherwise, do not start with this book, it will be hard. So, let's not go into that details. We will be discussing how to use this book to learn. We will see a lesson and I will share the best guidance and tips. So you can see this is a lesson. This is the 89th lesson. Actually this book starts from 50th. So the first 50 lessons are in one book and the 51st to 100th have the lessons in the second book. So this is the 89th lesson. So you can see that this is a lesson that talks about watching television. 看电视. So the first thing that you should know that if you want to use this book, the cassettes are a must. You cannot skip using the cassettes because the audio is very important for learning Chinese Mandarin. Chinese Mandarin is a tonal language, and if you are not using the recordings to learn with this book, you will totally miss out on half the value. Listening to the audio and trying to guess the meaning is a very important aspect when you are in the second half of this book. I mean, when you are using this advanced book of the two-part series, it is expected that you already have built some comprehension of the Chinese language. And if you are not using the audio to listen it and understand what it wants to say and then jumping in the lesson, that means you are not checking whether you have learned the lesson correctly or not. So I totally recommend that for this book especially you need the cassettes. For Japanese book you can still skip the cassettes, which is although not recommended, but still one can learn Japanese with the book and without the cassettes because Japanese speaking is very standard and it's not that hard compared to Chinese. But for Chinese as a tonal language, you have to use these cassettes and learn. So before going into those aspects, let's see this lesson and try to learn. So whenever I am seeing this lesson, what I will see, I will focus on this Hanzi. So I mean to say is that you should try to read the Chinese portion first, and in case you fail to read it, then you should look below and see the romanized form, which is pinyin, right? So I am looking in the first sentence. Qingwen, Jintian Yan, Sanmashi. Excuse me, which play is on today? So left hand side you have the Chinese, and below that you have the pinyin, and on the right hand side you have the approximate English translation, which are present in two phases. The first one is the accurate form, which pertains to the English way of speaking, right? Excuse me, which play is on today? But if you do word by word translation, you can see that on the right hand side, it is mentioned in small words. Please ask, today perform what play? So this is not how English speakers speak, right? Please ask, today perform what play? We always ask like, excuse me, which play is on today, right? But the Chinese, when they will speak, they will ask like this: Qingwen, Jintian Yan, Sanmashi, right? So you have to read the Chinese characters and try to speak Qingwen, Jintian Yan, Sanmashi. So if you are not using the recordings, right, then how you will attune your ears to understand the tones, right? So you have to listen to the audio and you have to try to correlate with the readings. It is like listening to the audio and seeing these readings right here. Then you will read 你说什么? Jing da shang diar shuo. So I can say that most of the people have not encountered this portion, right? Da shang diar shuo. So shuo is a very common Chinese word, and most of you have encountered this if you have been learning Chinese for a quite little more time or just started. Shuo is very common, so you do not need to memorize this. You can already recognize it seeing it here. But this one can be a little more new to you, right? You can say dashang there shuo. So it translates to, what did you say? Please speak a little louder. Please big sound a little say. So that is the word by word translation. So if you look into the word by word translation, it is very hard to keep it up, keep it with the learning. You should focus on reading the Chinese, listening to the Chinese, and try to get in your head what that wants to say. This portion on the right, the English translation, is very secondary, and it is way better to just go through this lesson, see the notes, and learn, right? So then you will read, Wo Wenni Jintian Yan Sanmashi. Then the person is telling, I ask you, what play is on today? Right? Then the person responds, Long Shu Go, which means uh, dragon bear ditch. So here you can see there is the second node, it has some historical information. So this is not pertaining to the language learning but more to cultural aspect, right? Whenever you are learning a language, you also have to learn a little bit of culture. That makes the learning process wholesome. Just knowing the grammar, just knowing the sentences is not that complete. You will impress native speakers even if you know the language a little less, but you are much more aware of the culture and how they speak, right? So then let's continue the lesson. Sanmashi ho Kaiyan. When does the play start? Ah, Jingni zai shuo yi bian. Then please say that again. So this is an grammatical sentence, right? So be careful with the item 5, 6 and 7. So it has a note. There is this three sentences, right? 5, 6 and 7. Remember that the final n in the syllables ian, an, in, n is not stressed. Simply indicates a nasal vowel. So this is another thing that you should focus, right? Whenever you are speaking, when there will be a nasal vowel, when there will be a pitch, high tone, right, etc. So this will only be resolved if you are listening to the audio and then imitating it yourself and learning. So the first thing you should, every time you are starting a lesson, you should do is that listen to the audio, try to understand what is said, and after that try to read the Mandarin characters with that audio. And if you are making mistakes with the tone, then look into the tone. If you are making mistakes with the English translation, then look at the English translation. And if you cannot find out how the sentence makes sense, then look into the word by word translation. So I think, hope I am clear with this. So let's look into the other part of the lesson. Let's complete this. So the person says, Ba Dian Ban, Ni Khan, Shang Bier Xie Jana. 8:30. Look, it's written up there. Hayo Piao do you have a ticket? 没有了，今天早就客满了。None left. Today audience was full long ago. 今天 means today, right? 早 means early. 就客满了. Then guest full. La means something was in a different state before and is in a different state now. Means the state has transited into transitioned into a new state from the earlier one. So this is something you will learn if you study Jew. So there are many words like this that add subtle grammatical changes when they are used in a sentence, right? Then we complete it like this. 没关系，回家看电视剧。对，看电视也不错。Watching television is not that bad. 没关系，回家看电视剧。Because the play has full audience. The persons have decided to return to their homes and watch television. So that is the conversation. That is only it. So you can see there is a grammatical point. For the verbal suffix ja indicates an unchanging state or a continuous action. At the end of the sentence, you will find the durative modal particle na. Mei kai jiana. The door was open. Wai mian xia zhe da yu. It's pouring with rain outside. So when you see the notes, in the notes the Chinese do not have the pronunciations in the series. So this you have to practice with your own exposure to the language. You have to read it and understand. Jiangshang Guazhe Di Tu. A map is hanging on the wall. So Jiangshang means on the wall. Guazhe. Guazhe means hanging on. So I have circled it. I have circled the appropriate English words that correlate with those Chinese words, right? So here you also see that there are no Chinese characters. Only the Romanized pinyin is written here. Neibian Zuo Ji Garen. How many people are sitting over there? Neibian Zuo means over there. Ji Garen. How many people, right? So full, sold out, all tickets sold. This is the fifth note. 今天早就客满了. So this is a set expression, right? This is a set expression. You have to remember this. So this will come only when you have been exposed repeatedly to the language. And yes, I also agree that I do not have the full competence to remember all this kind of set expressions. But whenever you are extensively studying a language, then only you have the capabilities to absorb these expressions and pull them out from your memory whenever it is needed. So this is something you should memorize. Some people say that language learning is not about memorizing, it's all about understanding. I will say that it is a mix of both. There are set expressions that you should remember and pull out when the situation demands it. It will make you look very fluent, right? And it will be very impressive. And also you should have your understanding. Otherwise, how you will be able to generate new sentences, right? So that's how you should study the lesson. And now let's go into the exercises. So in the exercises, you can see the right side is the English part. The book advises that you should listen to the Chinese in the audio cassettes and then you should try to guess the English meaning. That is your exercise. But what I will suggest is that you should read the Chinese and you should try to translate it. So if I read it here, could you write that again, please? So please, you have already seen it is Ching, right? Ching. So you is ni. So write that again, right? Zai xie yibian. Yibian means once more, right? So zai xie yibian means, could you write that again, please? Ching ni zai xie yibian. So this is a little idiomatic sentence, but it is a little hard exercise. So you have to try with the English first, and if you cannot write it, then you have to look into the Chinese, and again you have to study it like this: Qing ni zai xie yi bian, like this, right? So Chinese food isn't bad either, right? Zhongguo fan ye bu cuo, right? Zhongguo fan ye bu cuo. Chinese food is Zhongguo fan ye bu cuo. It starts at 8:30. 8点半开始，快去快去. So this is a double sentence. That means to propose to the person that you need to do this. It is like emphasizing it more and more. You are saying it twice. So these are the subtleties that you should learn and you should get exposed to. And the last, you have this: it doesn't matter. You have already seen that doesn't matter is never mind, right? 没关系. So this is a set expression you should remember. But in the exercise, you get an exposure to this expression. So you are saying it doesn't matter. 没关系. Let's go back home. 咱们回家去吧. So ba is a suggestion, right? 咱们回家去吧. So let's go home together means like this, a sentence. And in the below you can see that the number has its Mandarin equivalent. 263 is 263三 and 264 is 264. I have always faced a little difficulty with Mandarin numbers, right? When it is very long, I have a bit difficulty understanding it when it is spoken very fast. But still, you should read with this lesson. You have to practice. And all these exercises are in the series also, so you can refer them also. And last, you can see that there is also another exercise, which is a fill in the blanks exercise, that helps you creating sentences in your head and try to match with the answers, so that it gives you an structural help in your brain to form sentences, right? So is there some left? It's all gone, right? So you can see there is this fill in the blanks. Yoma, still, is there some left? It means still something is left or not. So there will be high, hayoma, and it's all gone. Means earlier it was there, now it is not there. So there is a change of state. So it means la, hayoma, meyola, right? This is the answer. So never mind, I will say it again. Never mind is, we have already seen, 没关系，我再说一次, right? I will say it again. And again below you can see this is 没关系 is written, right? I have focused here also. 我再说一遍, right? I will repeat. So this is an important sentence structure. So there has been two exercise items, right? When are you counting on going home? 你打算什么时候回家? When is missing here. So 什么时候 means when. And now this is the notes which is expressed here, written here. Be careful, don't hesitate to make yourself a list of all the homonyms you made. This is a suggestion, right? Suggest again once more zai, who is always followed by verb. So these are small tidbit informations that are always given there, right? So you have to take note of this, and you have to be very careful while reading with this book. This book will take more time to study each lesson than the Japanese one, because Chinese has a lot of nuances. Yes, Japanese is hard, but Chinese is a different kind of hard, right? So I will suggest that you need to give a little more time to study each of the Chinese lessons. And in the next, you can see there is an exercise solutions. High, low, we have already seen 没关系, zai, shiho. So do not attempt this book. I've already told in the starting of this video. If you have not studied beyond A2 level, then do not attempt this book. This book will be very hard for you actually. For beginners, the part 1 is recommended if you want to familiarize yourself with the Assimil study style. Else, if you are a little bit seasoned learner or have experience with learning Chinese for quite some time, and you have already completed a course in any app or something, then you can directly jump into this book. And at the end of this book also you have a glossary which summarizes the main expressions and vocabulary from the part 1, and also includes the vocabulary in this part 2. So you can look into that. So that is the end. I haven't included an image of that, and a lot of things remain same as the Japanese video, but the pronunciation and listening is much harder in Chinese, which needs extra care. So last, you can see that there is a small caricature, right? And this person has told something that has annoyed this person, or this person has told something, he looks like a foreigner, he has told something, right, insulting or something, and this person couldn't understand, and he's told, 你说什么? What did you say? So that's all. Hope I could explain. If you want to learn more, then please subscribe. See you in the next video.